Hello guys, and welcome to the next episode of the Ymir multiplayer series. So I'm recording this straight away after the last episode. So hello if you've just come from that episode. Nice to see you again. What I wanted to cover was a few extra things that I had done, obviously, since the previous episode I'd done, but just the other episode was getting too long, so I wanted to bring it into this episode. So, firstly, agricultural levies. This is what I didn't get to talk about in the last episode. This is something brand new to me. It was available the last time we played. It was available in that massive Ymir update back in 2021 June. That, again, we covered on the channel. But I just never got around to using it. I didn't really know what it was. I don't know what it was. Agriculture levies, you're just taking a tax from the agriculture sector. But I didn't really understand how it fitted into Ymir. I didn't really know how to use it and not suffer massive consequences. So, let me explain it in case you're unfamiliar with it or new to Ymir or whatever. Agricultural levies is a policy you enact once you get the tributes. I think it's called tributes. Yeah, this is it, tributes. Tributes tech around the mid-Copper Age, which is obviously where we are at. So it's a tech that, once enabled, gives you that 10% conflict, which you saw there, as the base. So no matter what number you set here, you're going to get 10% conflict. Which is why it's one of those things where, if you think of the fixed cost, a fixed cost is you're always going to have 10% conflict. So the larger this number, the lower that population conflict becomes as a cost. Because if you're only charging 10% tax here, but you're always getting that 10% conflict, this is a really inefficient levy. But 75% is the max, so we've actually got on the max. But I wanted to decrease it, and I'll show you in a second why. So, if we come here, now look, now I decreased it, we're stable at 30. So I'm going to decrease it just by a tiny bit more to, let's say, 68. So I'm at 2 loyalty above. We went up to 31 now. So we're just at stable. But we are actually increasing in conflict, so it's getting a bit worrying. So what this policy does is the number you set here is the percentage amount of agricultural goods taken as a tax, as a levy, from your farmers. And the game literally simulates this by taking a fixed amount from all the agricultural goods that you produce. So meat, I don't think it's classed as one. But basically any jobs that have the farmer title, so farms or cattle farms, they're the only two I can think of. They pay a tax of all the produce. That's literally simple as it is. So if this building produces 5 lettuce, 25% of that lettuce, if you set your tax 25%, will go to you, which means actually it's set as a state good instantly. Which then means that when it's supplied on the market, if you do supply it, so let's say you're producing buffalo and you just keep all the buffalo, it simply means you own those buffalo straight away. So you don't actually have to click the state back production to own the buffalo, you will own the 75% of the buffalo. But if it's a good that you're selling on the market, well again, you will sell buffalo to your butchers, but let's say lettuce for this example. When the merchants here buy the lettuce, usually they're buying it straight from the farmers. So the farmers make money, and that's obviously how the farmers get their wages. They sell their lettuce. And the merchants make money by selling their lettuce to the general population. Now that we've taken 75% of the farmer's lettuce, we are selling their lettuce to the merchant, which means we now make the profits, the value here, this number here, the price too, we earn that for the lettuce. Obviously there's waste included, but we've only got 5% waste, so it's fine. If we look here, that's why our trade balance, earlier, if you noticed this in the last episode, where I've got such good state-owned sales, and I said I'd cover it cover it in information, this is it. We've got such good trade balance because that state-owned sales of 56, it's almost all down to the food, the lettuce and the chickpeas and the buffalo that we're selling to industries that use it, or the merchants that use it. The consequences, obviously, of taxing them that amount, your farmers are less wealthy. Less wealthy means that they can... it's not a problem at the moment because we've got barter enabled, but without currency, prices are static. So we can't change, or the markets don't change prices based on how wealthy people are. But once currency comes out, buying power becomes a big thing. So limited resources have their prices changed drastically. So for example, adornments, if you're only supplying 1% adornment, richest people, in this case the oligarchs, will be the only ones who can afford it. Because of that, the market's up the price to match that. Which means, let's say you've got adornments at 16 coins now, because the price goes up to 16. If you buy dormants in on the market for 8 coins, you make an 8 coin profit when you sell them. But that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, because your workers now earn less money, they have less buying power. But again, that's not a problem right now. Our farmers are still pretty wealthy, but they were more wealthy. They had about 4 coins. So now they're down to 2.4. But that's a massive income that we're earning. Having this 70%, well, 75, again, I just decreased to 68%. So having 68% agriculture levies must generate me about 40 or 50 coins. Generate me a lot of income. So a lot of our income is from this agriculture levy. The consequences is, though, the loyalty penalty. And if we look here, state, agriculture levies are 36. So I haven't really done it very correctly, because how agriculture levies works is it looks at how many farmers you've got. So we've got 29 farmers, and compares it to how many non-farmers you have. In this case, it will be 208 minus 29. That ratio then determines how much of the unhappiness you'll generate. You can see here, agricultural levy upsets the farmer class and reduces their loyalty to the state. Malice is affected by the ratio and quantity of farmers. So how that works is areas or territories with more farmers get way more angry. If we look here, we've got 15 farmers, but only 4 non-farmers. If we look at loyalty, they've got 68 penalty. So but they've got only 15 farmers. We've got 29 here. Yet they've got double the loyalty penalty to the agriculture levies than the city does, because the ratio is much higher of farmers to non-farmers. So what you see here, though, again, look how high the loyalty is in this countryside. 65. It's huge, and that is because it's got such a low population. So it's got, sorry, that's the wrong thing. Yeah, no, it's the right thing. Sorry, it's got such a low population, so it only loses. That's the wrong one. Where is it? Amount of population here, -2. So it's got very small population. And then we get all the same bonuses. We get the plus 21 state power, plus 64 legitimacy, and then we lose the forced labour and the agriculture levies. But because we've got such good population, or such little population or loss, we can have such high loyalty in our countryside. So what the goal is, and this is again where I'd never really used agriculture levies before, so I didn't know about this, but the goal is to distribute, or not distribute, sorry, but slowly push your farmers out of your capital or your regional centres and into your countrysides, because that then decreases the amount of farmers you've got here. So basically what happens is your countryside, which can take massive amounts of penalty hits, because this one's actually going, well, this one doesn't have any farmers, but this one is going down to 65 loyalty. That gives us 35 potential more loyalty that it can go down by before it starts being a rebellion risk. So if we push all the farmers out to the countrysides, our capital will take no, where is it? Again, loyalty. It will take no agricultural levy loyalty, yet we still get the same amount of taxes on all these countrysides that can take it, which then means because we're losing 36 less loyalty, I can spend less on bribes, I can have a smaller army if I did have an army. You see what I mean? So the loyalty penalty is mitigated, but we're still earning that 75% tax. So that's a bit about agriculture levies. Hopefully you've understood that. Hopefully that makes sense. If you knew that already, then congratulations, you're very smart. If you've never played Ymir before, or you're new to Ymir, then hopefully you now know a little bit about it, so you can start implementing that into your game. So remember, the key takeaways from that is push your food sources, so that is your pastures and your farm or your fielded farms, into your countrysides, and then set agriculture levies to 75%. And you should see that actually the loyalty penalty isn't too much of a big deal on your capital. What I have done though is set some farmer jobs. Only I think it's this one and this one to low, but because again we've got so many workers, they're still getting used up. The reason I set them to low though is because we did have excess food and chickpeas, and I just felt 6 workers not working in farming meant that this loyalty bonus was mitigated a little bit more, and we didn't need the extra food. But hey, that's fine. It's not a major issue. We're now balancing the books with our loyalty. That agriculture levies talked about. We've still got so much more. This is what I mean. It's been the jam-packed 24 hours in terms of Ymir. We've got markets to talk about. Pretty busy markets, to be honest. Seeming again, there's a lot of players who obviously aren't on markets because, you know, they haven't actually had the tech researched yet. Yeah, pretty good. And everything we need is on there. We've got the axes for 15. Saying that, let's actually buy some in. Them all in, actually. Got a bit of money to spare, so let's buy them in. We need them anyway. and there's only selling very few. So if in case they're actually that's all they've got, I want to get them in and not give them to someone else. We've got some axes there. Stuff like wood is on there. 1.4 coins for wood, pretty good price. Again, it says we produce it at 0.8, but it's one of those things where sometimes you just need 50 to build a massive new building. So buying it in for 1.4 coins each is not a pain at all. Mud bricks, 2.8 coins. Leather on there for quite cheap. In fact, the leather on here is cheaper than it is for us to buy it in. Because if I buy this leather in, technically I make a profit of 0.1, but there's a little bit of a waste lost. But still, that's a really brilliant price. We've got all sorts on there as well. Stuff like beer we could start actually buying in. 3.4 coins. I think I might do that because I am researching fermentation. For researching fermentation, I can get taverns, which is a next thing we need because taverns are entertainment. So that goes up to the next chain. So taverns give us 3 life quality. So that's really useful. And then alcohol, I don't know why I went out, but alcohol is the next one as well. So we can get alcohol and taverns knocked off by getting beer. Because beer is the arid biome's alcohol source. So I could go for something else. I could go for wine if anyone started producing wine. Or, where's another one? I don't actually see another one. Cider. But why would I do that when I can get beer, which is already the cheapest anyway? And it's one that I potentially, if I absolutely needed to, could produce myself. So getting in beer for 3.4 coins is definitely potentially something I'll look at doing. I'll need to see how much we make it for. It's saying 2. I think that's wrong though. I think we'll make beer. The price of beer will go up from 2. Because like leather cloves are 2.1 and beer's harder to make than leather cloves. So we'll have to wait and see though. But once I get taverns, I'll get some down. Get some merchants down for beer. So actually let's do that now. We need more merchants anyway. So let's get another 4 merchants down. But that's all going good. What else I wanted to talk about was our flint makers. Because a lot of our flint makers actually work at a negative percentage usage, so 60% here. 2 workers make 1.1 flint, which is just terrible. And our price of flint is 1. So these guys are selling flint, like it's just absolutely unbelievable. Again, this is the beauty of markets. These guys are selling flint at 0.7. So we make a profit of 0.3 coins when we sell that flint. And we then save these jobs who are doing very little anyway, because flint doesn't make you very much production for the 2 workers. But they're not even working at full efficiency. They're only working at 60%. 98% is all right, but 70% here. This one's at 91%, which isn't too bad as well. But then this one, that one's gone, hasn't it? And there's one here, isn't there? 77%. So I can save 6 jobs, or even 8 jobs, and I'm making a profit on it. This is where this market is just absolutely brilliant. So I can save 8 jobs there, 8 jobs, and make a profit on the flint, which is huge. It means I'm making a bit more money because I'm selling flint in, and it means I'm making more economic gains because I can apply 6 workers to other industries where I do make a profit. So there's a lot I can play around with. But the next thing I wanted to do, upgrade the cattle farms. So I've got upgraded cattle farms, well, about a few hours ago actually. So I've got a lot of cattle farms I want to upgrade. I do want, even though I'm saying about moving farming out of the capital, having at least 1 cattle farm is something I do want to keep. Because remember, that penalty is to the ratio of farmers. So you don't, if you got it to 0 farmers, yes, you'll have no penalty, but you can handle having about 10, 12 farmers in your capital. And you don't actually want to lose all your farmers because, God forbid, you got declared war on. Your countrysides are at great risk of being taken over because they've got no militia, no army. So you might patrol and guard them, but they've still got no army for itself. Whereas your capital is much harder to take over. Mine is pretty shit. I've got no walls and a very small army. 20 warriors and 15 spearmen. 15 javelinmen. But I've still got, because I've got such a big population, if anyone did attack me, at least I have that auto defense as well, which would be semi-useful. So I think, and again, the reason I'm being so, like, what's the word, like, not very cautious, it's not the word, but that's the best I can think of, is because I don't think my neighbours would attack me. They've got no reason to. I've got no valuable resources here. I'm not ahead on score. I'm not close enough for them to take me over and take my usable land. Like, there's no reason for them to take me over. And, well, if they did, I think they'd be sort of stuck anyway because I'd amass a massive army and we'd both go into massive debt. So there's no real reason to take me over, which is why I'm not too worried about being declared war on. So that's why I can afford not having a big militia and a big army to guard my base. But I still want to keep some farmers in my area because I got this fertility 6 around my river, so I still do get some good bonuses here. But I can take farmers out slowly over time. So let's get these guys upgraded here. Then in my countryside of west side, I've got the 1 pasture, which I'm going to upgrade as well. Then what I wanted to do was also further develop my countrysides, because I've made my new one, humid, which originally was to mine copper. I was going to have 3 mines and then 1 buffalo pastures, because it's a tropical. Buffalo is the only thing I could grow on there for now. But I'm thinking about going just purely buffalo on it. We'll have 1 copper mine, sorry, but then all the rest just go purely buffalo. So let's upgrade these guys. What I've also done here is I've built a market, because you can't trade food between your regional centre and your countryside. You can trade from your regional, you can trade from your countryside to your regional centre. You can't trade from your regional centre to your countryside. So unless you want to just constantly manually transfer, which is very unreliable, very annoying, you actually have to make markets and just automatically buy in. But then with these markets, you can buy in on internal only. The game's got this really weird system where you have to set it to recurring order, set it to internal, but then it won't buy from yourself unless your own orders are set to internal. So let's say you wanted to sell meat to the general public of other places, you'd create an external order. And then if you wanted to then also sell just to yourself, you have to make that an internal order. So if I was selling meat, or buying meat at 1, but I only had a selling order in my capital to everybody, it won't buy from that. It has to be an internal order as well, which is just really frustrating. So you have to have double the selling orders. It's not the end of the world though. But meat is so cheap. Like, meat is ridiculously 1.1 coins for meat. It's like the lettuce we're producing here is way more valuable than meat, which is why I'm thinking about getting the meat in. So let's get the meat here, and we can then tone down the amount of lettuce we sell, saving me lettuce, and I just trade it off for meat. And meat's better than lettuce anyway, technically, because lettuce gives us 1 life quality, but meat gives us 1.75, so the meat is way more valuable. But that's why I've got the markets, by the way, so I can buy in meat and actually then create a new food source for my people that saved me the lettuce, which makes me more profits, because the lettuce is worth more than meat in the economy and on the market. In terms of why I've got houses here, though, is because, as I think I've said before, you do want a small population in your countrysides, but having extra people gives you more forced labour. This is something, again, I discovered very recently. I was like, does this forced labour amount actually go into your budget? And it actually does. I was under the impression it didn't, because I was fooled by outposts. Outposts forced labour don't go into your budget balance. So I had it in my head that countrysides didn't either. But the bigger your countrysides, the more forced labour you get. Countrysides, though, do have their own waste. So you can see here we've got 20% waste. So selling directly from countrysides might not be the best option if you can transfer it to your capital. Because I think when you regionally transfer, the waste charged is on the capital's waste. But it might not be. Maybe it doesn't matter, because maybe you have to spend the 20% waste anyway to get it into your capital. I don't know. But I always have to transfer it to my capital, just so I have everything consolidated. But yes, so in this countryside, we can buy in meat. We're raising the culture level by having better life quality. By having 2 food sources, another thing that some of the experienced players are teaching me is by having the 2 food sources, you obviously get more life quality, nothing new there. But then by doing that in your countryside, your state culture is going up, which then means per amount of people you have, in this case I have 951 over all my countrysides and my capital, I'm getting more state culture, so I get more production for my cultural levels. You can see here we've almost got 300 cultural level now. So things are going up, and if I continue to develop at the rate I'm doing it, I really will become more of a, not key player on the server, not at all, but I will start emerging as going from a nobody economy to maybe hitting the top 15, top 16 players. And again, that's as a sole player. A lot of these top ones are combined nations, so it's where multiple players have joined up to form one nation. Otherwise, it would be physically impossible to get that much score on your own. Yeah, so it's going to be a bit of a wait. We can see here it's 20 minutes for these pastures to be done, so I'm not going to bother like sitting around waiting for that. I'll probably cover that on my own, not in this episode. But I wanted to obviously show me actually upgrading them, so you know what's going to happen. I'm going to do the same here in Humid as well. I'll just get some pastures ready because I can buy the wood in. You saw the wood was on the market, so I can buy the wood in and I can buy the hammers in as well. So I have everything I need to get started. I'm no longer dependent on, oh, I've run out of hammers now, I can't build any more fields, or oh, I haven't got enough wood to expand my housing. If I need it, I can buy it. And actually, even though I'm running quite low on coins, I know I'm making positive coins, and I know that building those things is going to increase my economy. So it's just a good investment, isn't it? Anyway, let's get some pastures in here. See, I've got a market here as well with the 2 merchants. I haven't got any housing here though, but I will wait a little bit before I start getting any more housing. Yeah, things are going brilliant. You can see, like I said, the wildlife is now leaving Castell, so we'll have to lose those 6 jobs, but that's absolutely fine. In terms of what else there is to cover in this episode, I think lastly is just the techs. So let's look at what we've got. We researched fermentation. We just got animal husbandry, market, porter distributes. Territorial control we've also got as well. Mud bricks we also got, and I am actually producing my own mud bricks because yes, they are really cheap on the market at 2.8 coins. I've got such a surplus of workers in Castell that I actually think it is worth it just to have some mud brick workers going on, because mud, we've got plenty of it and it obviously doesn't cost anything to make, apart from the workers. And the mud bricks I make for like 1.2 coins buying, like as industry buying, but they cost 2.8 to buy on the market, so I am saving 50% on them. So I'm happy just to make my own mud bricks for now. But new text wise, irrigation. So irrigation is one we actually can do now. We've got builders. So I'm going to put 2 builders onto it. Actually, no, 200 coins. I don't want to spend too much of our money on it right now. And it isn't. It's a good tech, but I don't think it's worth harming our economic growth on it just yet. But basically, what irrigation does is it gives us 0.1 efficiency per farm, or sorry, per field, which basically means that each farm, I think, gets about 10%, 5 to 10% extra capacity. Obviously, it depends on the amount of efficiency you've already got, but it does give you about 5 to 10% extra capacity per farm, which obviously, if you've got a lot of farms like we have, that's huge. But it costs 200 coins, and I only have 400 coins, and I want to buy in stuff like more axes and stuff just yet. And because it would take us 2 days, well, almost 3 days to get, I'm not actually too bored about that right now. Spears we've got. Spears are brilliant. They are such a fundamental military equipment in the game, even for a long time, like going into the late Bronze Age, because you've got snouts, which is the mid-Copper Age military unit, which is simply just leather clothes and a spear. Just a simple little porco who's no longer your bog standard bash warrior. He's actually more of a soldier now with a spear, and he's got some basic equipment. Then you have shielded snouts, which is, funny enough, just a snout with a shield, but they are actually pretty damn good because they get that extra armor bonus and toughness, making them much more resilient against ranged units and much more likely to survive an encounter with other spearmen or other military units. And then you go on to hoglites, which are like mid-Bronze Age, which require bronze helmets. I think it's bronze helmets, or is it light helmets? I think it's bronze helmets. And oh no, I'm skipping a unit. After shielded hoglites, or snouts, it goes hog spears or spearmen or whatever it is. The spearmen are light helmets, padded armor, spears, and a shield, I think, or they're leather clothes and a padded armor, whatever. You can see, like, it scales up massively the amount of equipment you need. They use spears, and then you have hoglites, which is the Bronze Age unit, which is bronze armor, bronze helmets, bronze shields, and spears, and they're an absolute monster. Those hoglites, like, that is what the late game armies are filled with. You have hundreds and hundreds of hoglites, which are very strong spearman units. So spears are used throughout the game. The only time they start dropping off is late Bronze Age, where maybe you're going for swordsmen, or in the Iron Age when you're going for the portus or porcus, and they're called, or like the longswordmen. That's when the spears start dropping off. But you're still getting 2 generations or 2 ages where the spears are used. The spears are brilliant. It's simply just copper and wood, but they cost 2 civ points, and because I don't think I'm going to be going to war anytime soon, I'd rather take the risk and not unlock them, but I will unlock them soon. After that, we've got alliance marriages. Simply just gives you more nation subordinates. which basically means that, because now the nation system has been overhauled, well, about 2 years ago actually it was overhauled, but it's basically meaning that you now limited the amount of people you can have subordinate to you in your nation. I think it's 1. I can't remember if that, it's 0, I think it's 0, and then you get a tech that gives you 1 quite early on, and then it's stuff like alliance marriage gives you 1, and other ones that give you 1. So it does limit the amount of people you can have underneath you. So that, again, we're not going into a nation anytime soon, so that's a bit irrelevant. Warehouses, nice simple one. In fact, I'm going to get it right now. It costs 0, 10 hammers, 10 wood, 10 pottery, all minimal. And I actually do want warehouses. You saw on my capital, I'm using up a lot of space on that beach for warehousing. And also, I am running out of space. So let's go for it. 5 hours, brilliant. Let's get that one done. And finally, actually not finally, we've got construction. So construction, foremanship, architects. I actually have no clue what architects are for. I have seen them before, not in a YouTube series, but in my own playthrough over 2 years ago. I've seen them, but I can't remember what they were used for. They were very late game building. I think they're used for making the palace building. I think that's what their new use is. But then saying that, I don't remember building them in our last series when I did have a palace building. So we'll have to find out what they're for. But I'm not interested in getting them anytime soon. But then guards. Guards give you towers. Towers are very good for defense because it's a target that takes up enemy units. So even though they don't deal much damage, they take up a lot of damage, taking that damage away from your own units. And they also then, if you place them down, they give you authority bonus. So they have a worker working on them, and they give you, let's say, 1 loyalty per worker. So it's a good little bit of usage of a worker. But 8 officials working on them will absolutely shatter our state power and our admin. And it's probably for quite a while, isn't it? It's a whole day where we'll be a massive negative state power and admin. So I'm not that desperate to have them right now. And I can't really even afford them at 200 coins. So I'm going to say no to them. With all of that spoken about, guys, it's been another long episode. I appreciate if you've watched it this far. If you've watched it this far, you're a real one. If you're on episode, what is this, episode 15? If you watched episode 15 to the end, whole way through, you're a real one. And I'm really grateful for your time. So thanks a lot for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please leave it a like. If you're enjoying the Ymir content and want to see more, stay updated, please subscribe to the channel. Finally, if you want to join the Discord, be a part of the community even more, then yeah, the link is in the description and you can come say hi. So, thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you in the next episode. Ta-ra.